Dear students, you are to listen this recording along with the text. I am Kashinath with you with the lesson Nelson Mandela. This is the second lesson of first flight. In this lesson, we are to read Long Walk to Freedom. How racism has disturbed this world. This is an international event, a big event for people to understand how racism is a crime, how people have been oppressed in the world. Nelson Mandela was a black people, black in color, white and black. Two types of people are there. Generally, in general way, you may understand. And three major countries face this type of racism. Apartheid, that is racism. Apartheid is a political system which separates people according to their race, according to their birth, you may understand, according to their color. These three countries are United States of America, South Africa and Australia. In all these three countries, for a long time, white people dominated on the black. Later on, a struggle started and it continues up till now. Recently, we have seen an event in America. A black people, a civilian, was killed by a white man. You must have heard about Nelson Mandela. Mandela was the president of South Africa. Mandela and his African National Congress spent a lifetime fighting against apartheid. Apartheid, that political system. So African National Congress fought against apartheid. Nelson Mandela spent 30 years in prison for fighting against this political system. Finally, his political party, Democratic election, won in 1994, and Mandela became the first president of South Africa, black president of South Africa, a new nation. That is democratic nation. In this extract, we are to read his story. He writes himself. His speech is there. That is why you can understand autobiography. A question is there, what is autobiography? Autobiography is a writing in which a writer writes about himself. When somebody writes about himself, then that is autobiography. And when someone writes about others' life, that is biography. In the occasion of inauguration of the government, new government, he delivered a long speech. This speech was spreaded everywhere, especially from BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, a news that spreads all over the world. On 10th May 1994. Now let's see about first black president of South Africa, that is Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela became South Africa's first black president after more than 30 centuries of white rule. More than 3 centuries of white rule. It means after 300 years of rule of the white, a black person, Mandela, Nelson Mandela, won 250 seats out of 400 seats in the first democratic election of South Africa's history. In the inauguration, means the starting ceremony that took place in the Union Building of Amphitheatre. Amphitheatre means open theatre in Pretoria. Pretoria is a place in South Africa. It was attended by politicians and dignitaries, means VIP, important persons from more than 140 countries. It means important persons, leaders, delegates, politicians, ministers from 140 countries witnessed it. Means they reached there in the inauguration ceremony. It was a big event there. In his address he had said, "Never, never again and will this beautiful land experience the oppression of one by another." It means never again will the land of South Africa experience that a person oppresses others, whether they are black or white. Jubilant scenes on the streets of Pretoria followed the ceremony with blacks, whites, colored, and so on, celebrating this inauguration. White and colored people were all together. More than 1 lakh South African men, women and children of all races sang and danced with joy. It means they enjoyed. So this is just a starting of the speech. Let's know what is it about. On what occasion did Nelson Mandela made his speech? Let's know further what happened. 10th May dawned bright and clear. 10th May was very bright day, very clear day. For the past few days, Nelson Mandela had been pleasantly surrounded by dignitaries, means covered by important figures, persons and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. It means people from the world had been coming to him. The inauguration was to be the largest gathering ever of the international leaders in the land of South Africa. It means people of the world were to be there. The function took place, ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheater. Amphitheater, a building without a roof, a big covering, just like you see sort of a stadium, formed by the Union Building in Pretoria. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy. White people were there, supreme there. They led, they dominated on all others. And now it was the site of the rainbow gathering of different colors. Rainbow gathering. What is a rainbow gathering? Gathering of the people of different color sitting together. That is known as the rainbow gathering here. Nation for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. This nation of South Africa is establishing a new non-racial government where there is no domination of any color, not on the name of color, but on the name of quality, on the name of persons only. Democratic means elected by people. On that lovely autumn day, Mandela was accompanied by his daughter Janani. On the podium, means on the desk, Mr. De Klerk was the first sworn in as second deputy president. De Klerk became or sworn, take oath, sworn means take oath, the post of deputy president. Then Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as the first deputy president. When it was his turn, the turn of Mandela, he pledged to obey and uphold the constitution. Means he pledged, means he took oath, shapath lena, took oath, pledged in the name of a nation to obey and uphold the constitution, that he will not betray the rules and regulations of the government of the country. To devote myself to the well-being of Republic and its people, to the assembled guests and watching world. He said, now whatever he said, I am to translate it. How he said and what he said in the open amphitheater. He said, today all of us do by our presence here confer glory and hope to newborn liberty. He said to his people that in their presence they give their glory, donate their glory. Glory means importance. and hope to new-born liberty, new freedom. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster, he called it a human disaster, extraordinary human disaster, which lasted too long, which stayed there in the land of South Africa for a long time. Must be born a society of which all humanity would be proud. All the people would be proud. We, the people of South Africa, who had been outlaws, who had made out from the rules and regulations, not so long ago, they have new laws that day. They have been given rules and regulations of constitution, a privilege, means facility to be host to the nation of the world on their own land, on soil. They are the host. They are to welcome the people of the world on that day, on 10th May. And conferring the people of as a member people, he used we. It means they thanked all the distinguished international guests for coming to take position with the people of their country. After all, a common victory for justice, for peace, and for human dignity. Why did they come? He explained it. The people, important leaders, came there for a common victory of justice and peace and human dignity. Dignity of the human beings, importance of the human beings. They had at last achieved their political emancipation, freedom. They pledged themselves to liberate all their people from continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation and suffering, gender and other discrimination. So different types of discrimination had been there. Discrimination means differently treated, unbehaviorably treated. They were discriminated on the name of poverty, on the name of have-nots, means poor, on the name of suffering, on the name of gender, on the name of color. So discrimination had been there. Never and never again will it be that this beautiful land, means the land of South Africa, again experience the oppression of one by another. He announced. Who announced? Nelson Mandela announced that never again the land of South Africa will experience oppression of one by others. The sun shall never set on so glorious human achievement. Let freedom reign, God bless Africa. He says, the sun means the freedom, the light that they have seen. They had been living in dark. Now a light of freedom is there. That light of freedom will never set on, will never sink from the land of South Africa. So he said, God bless South Africa. So some of the questions are there. Just see, where did ceremonies take place? Can you name any public building in India that are made of sandstone? Yes, Red Fort is there. Can you say how 10th May is an autumn day in South Africa? And several or more questions are there. Read it, see it, and then see its answer also. Thank you very much.